Drove an hour over here from Rochester to pick up a load of eggs. Brought over a trailer and I'm getting ready to go to Pottsville. So I got this thing on my chest right now and I'm gonna let it record as long as it can. I found out recently that these things do run hot. I don't know why, but the good thing is it cuts off when it gets too hot. So I'm gonna let it run till it cut off. And I'm getting ready to come out of this egg farm right now. And that's gonna be that. I want to turn on some music. Let me see if I can turn on some music without turning off the camera. Okay, putting my seatbelt on. Always got to be safe. All right, over here. There's my music. Actually, not music. I'm gonna listen to an Audible. Some Think and Grow Rich. Okay, here we go.
Narrated by Jim Kipping, VO Planet Studios. Forward. Using the law of attraction to have clients chasing you instead of the other way around. There's no doubt that in network marketing, to have any chance of success, you have to go out there and bust your hump. Anyone who tells you otherwise is clearly lying to you. In fact, in any business endeavor, or just life in general, busting your hump is almost always a requirement. But there seems to be this misconception about marketing a business, especially an MLM network marketing business, that becomes very self-defeating for a lot of people. This goes for the new distributor, as well as those who have been in the business for a while, even years. The misconception is that hard work is equal to pushing hard, or better yet, I should say, pushing your opportunity or products hard. This is where people almost always go wrong when trying to build their network marketing business. The fact is, there is a much easier way to market your business and products, and it doesn't require you creating a stigma about yourself, where people basically run the other way when they see you coming. We don't have to go back any further than to elementary science class to see the difference up close and personal, and actually witness it happening firsthand. Do you remember when you were a kid and you had two magnets? If you'll remember correctly, if you took one magnet and you held it up to a magnetic metal, such as a set of keys or a paperclip, or the refrigerator, you would then see that the magnet was powerful. It would actually pull things to it from a distance. Well, not the refrigerator. But if you had two magnets and you put the two near each other, it was very clear that these two things were repelled by one another. Basically, they didn't want anything to do with each other, and no matter how hard you tried to force one to another, it just wasn't happening. Well, this is what happens with network marketers. Instead of sitting back and letting those who are actually attracted to what they're offering come to them, they go out and try to force that attraction, exerting much effort into a useless endeavor, unfortunately. I can tell you right now that just like the two magnets that are highly unattracted to each other, or the metals like copper or aluminum that are not attracted to the magnet at all, a person not attracted to your offer is not going to be. And therefore, pursuing and trying to create that attraction will be in vain. The reason is pretty simple. It goes against the law of the universe. And much to my dismay, I cannot, nor can you, control or reverse the laws of the universe. It's the law of attraction. You've probably heard a ton about the law of attraction lately, with some very popular movies and books coming out about the subject as of late. I'm not going to get into all the metaphysical aspects of it. I am going to explain how to logically and strategically become attractive to prospects as a network marketer. You'll see that once you understand how to strategically reverse engineer the process of attraction marketing, it'll be easier than ever before to begin building your network marketing business, because people will start coming to you rather than you having to chase them. That's basically what the concept and this book is all about. How to stop chasing and have prospects chasing you instead. If you've been struggling for a while, you're probably thinking that this seems completely impossible. After all, up until now, nobody's been interested in what I have to offer. So what in the world could I possibly do to get them coming to me instead? Here's the secret in a nutshell. You have to be the conduit of information for those seeking what you have for them, which is a tremendous opportunity for them to tap into. Believe me, they are out there. They're looking. But unless you're giving them what they're looking for, then they're passing you right up for the person who is giving them this information. They're passing you up for the person who seems to be the expert in the network marketing industry. And they're literally clawing to be able to work with that person. Did you hear that? That's right. Somebody out there is attracting those prospects that are passing you right up. That's significant. And that's something that you'll need to digest and then work to change quickly. The dating world is a perfect example of this, by the way. If you go to any bar or club in the world, you'll see two different types of people. You'll see the chasers and you'll see the attractors. More often than not, it's the men chasing the women laying low and being attractive. Basically, they know they've got what the men want, and therefore, they simply act like the magnet. The magnet really doesn't have to do much, does it? It's actually quite humorous to watch. Of course, the pickup artists of the world have figured this out, and they have reverse engineered it. Instead of chasing, they figured out the things that are highly attractive to a woman, and they've embodied those things so that the chasing is actually turned around the other way. It's the same with marketing your opportunity. The way to do this is to simply convey to all the opportunity seekers in the world that you are the expert in the field. How to convey that you're an expert, even if you don't feel that you are. Let's make this really simple. Being an expert at anything simply means that you know more about something than the person seeking the information. If you're a dating expert, then you know more about dating than the poor guy who can't get a date to save his life. If you're a golfing expert, then you know more about the perfect swing than the guy slicing all over the place on the course. Therefore, if you're the network marketing expert, you know more about network marketing than the struggling person still trying to figure out which end is up in network marketing. They're still trying to discover how to prospect, how to talk to people, the compensation plan, and, well, at attraction marketing. This book will show you exactly how to do that and more. It's the secret to your network marketing success, and one of the best success books ever written. Listen to this book, study it, and absorb its life-changing information. Help your network to do the same. To really take things to a new level, get a copy for everyone in your downline. The more people around you who share the secret, the better your life will be. Make it a great day. Hugh Newman. Chapter 1. Introduction. The man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas A. Edison. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. A little more than 30 years ago, Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men really do think and grow rich. His discovery did not come about in one sitting. It came little by little, beginning with a burning desire to become a business associate of the great Edison. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes's desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Edison, not for him. Observe carefully the description of how he went about translating his desire into reality, and you will have a better understanding of the 13 principles which lead to riches. When his desire, or impulse of thought, first flashed into his mind, he was in no position to act upon it. Two difficulties stood in his way. He did not know Mr. Edison, and he did not have enough money to pay his railroad fare to Orange, New Jersey. These difficulties were sufficient to have discouraged the majority of men from making their attempt to carry out the desire. But his was no ordinary desire. He was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he finally decided to travel by blind baggage rather than be defeated. To the uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on a freight train. He presented himself at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced he had come to go into business with Mr. Edison. In speaking of the first meeting between Barnes and Edison years later, Mr. Edison said, "He stood there before me, looking like an ordinary tramp. But there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. I had learned, from years of experience with men, that when a man really desires a thing so deeply, he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it. He is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for, because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Subsequent events proved that no mistake was made. Just what young Barnes said to Mr. Edison on that occasion was far less important than that which he thought. Edison himself said so. It could not have been the young man's appearance which got him his start in the Edison office, for that was definitely against him. It was what he thought that counted. If the significance of this statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the remainder of this book. Barnes did not get his partnership with Edison on his first interview. He did get a chance to work in the Edison offices at a very nominal wage, doing work that was unimportant to Edison, but most important to Barnes, because it gave him an opportunity to display his merchandise where his intended partner could see it. Months went by. Apparently nothing happened to bring the coveted goal which Barnes had set up in his mind as his definite major purpose. But something important was happening in Barnes's mind. He was constantly intensifying his desire to become the business associate of Edison. Psychologists have correctly said that when one is truly ready for a thing, it puts in its appearance. Barnes was ready for a business association with Edison. Moreover, he was determined to remain ready until he got that which he was seeking. He did not say to himself, well, what's the use? I guess I'll change my mind and try for a salesman's job. But he did say, I came here to go into business with Edison, and I will accomplish this end if it takes the remainder of my life. He meant it. What a different story men would have to tell if only they would adopt a definite purpose and stand by that purpose until it had time to become an all-consuming obsession. Maybe young Barnes did not know it at the time, but his bulldog determination, his persistence in standing back of a single desire, was destined to mow down all opposition and bring him the opportunity he was seeking. When the opportunity came, it appeared in a different form and from a different direction than Barnes had expected. That is one of the tricks of opportunity. It has a sly habit of slipping in by the back door, and often it comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. That is one of the tricks of opportunity. It has a sly habit of slipping in by the back door, and often it comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps the so many failed to recognize opportunity. Mr. Edison had just perfected a new office device, known at the time as the Edison dictating machine, now the Epiphone. His salesmen were not enthusiastic over the machine. They did not believe it could be sold without great effort. Barnes saw his opportunity. It had crawled in quietly, a queer-looking machine which interested no one but Barnes and the inventor. Barnes knew he could sell the Edison dictating machine. He suggested this to Edison and promptly got his chance. He did sell the machine. In fact, he sold it so successfully that Edison gave him a contract to distribute and market all over the nation. Out of that business association grew the slogan, "Made by Edison and installed by Barnes." The business alliance has been in operation for more than 30 years. Out of it, Barnes has made himself rich in money, but he has done something infinitely greater. He has proved that one really may think and grow rich. How much actual cash that original desire of Barnes's has been worth to him, I have no way of knowing. Perhaps it has brought him $2 or $3 million. But the amount, whatever it is, becomes insignificant when compared to the greater asset he acquired in the form of definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into its physical counterpart by the application of known principles. Barnes literally thought himself into a partnership with the great Edison. He thought himself into a fortune. He had nothing to start with, except the capacity to know what he wanted, and the determination to stand by that desire until he realized it. He had no money to begin with. He had but little education. He had no influence. But he did have initiative, faith, and will to win. With these intangible forces, he made himself #1 man with the greatest inventor who ever lived. Now, let us look at a different situation and study a man who had plenty of tangible evidence of riches, but lost it because he stopped 3 feet short of the goal he was seeking. 3 feet from gold. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Every person is guilty of this mistake at one time or another. An uncle of R.U. Darby was caught by the gold fever in the gold rush days and went west to dig and grow rich. He had never heard that more gold had been mined from the brains of men than has ever been taken from the earth. He staked a claim and went to work with pick and shovel. The going was hard, but his lust for gold was definite. After weeks of labor, he was rewarded by the discovery of the shining ore. He needed machinery to bring the ore to the surface. Quietly, he covered up the mine, retraced his footsteps to his home in Williamsburg, Maryland, told his relatives and a few neighbors of the strike. They got together money for the needed machinery, had it shipped. The uncle and Darby went back to work the mine. The first car of ore was mined and shipped to a smelter. The returns proved that they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. A few more cars of that ore would clear the debts. Then would come the big killing in profits. Down went the drills, up went the hopes of Darby and uncle. Then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They had come to the end of the rainbow, and the pot of gold was no longer there. They drilled on, desperately trying to pick up the vein again, all to no avail. Finally, they decided to quit. They sold the machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and took the train back home. Some junk men are dumb, but not this one. He called in a mining engineer to look at the mine and do a little calculating. The engineer advised that the project had failed because the owners were not familiar with fault lines. His calculations showed that the vein would be found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. That is exactly where it was found. The junk man took millions of dollars in ore from the mine because he knew enough to seek expert counsel before giving up. Most of the money which went into the machinery